secrets nobody knows. Eyes are open, hands are fisted. Deep inside I'm warped and twisted. So many tricks, so many lies. Too many wins, too many whys. Nobody's special, nobody's gifted. I'm just me, warped and twisted. Sleeping awake, choking on a dream. Listen loudly, my silence screams. Calm my mind, the numbers unlisted. Lost in someone, warped and twisted. On my knees, like the dead. Look at all the blood I shed. I'm not gone, but my head's drifted. Don't expect much, I'm warped and twisted. Burnt out, wasted and hollow. Today's just yesterday, tomorrow. The sun dried out, the ashes sifted. I'm still here, warped and twisted.
Hey y'all, Morning Label Nina. It's Morning Label Discussions. I am in no way a psychologist, a psychology teacher, a psychology anything. But let's go on a little psychology journey with Nina. So, one of my first, well, 3 of my first videos was a deep dive into finding out who Brian Koberger was, because I wanted to try to understand as much about him as I possibly could. And the only thing that I had to go on was his interests. And I know that both of his sisters and himself, they majored in psychology. I think his work business card has Aristotle. It has a quote from Aristotle. I learned that he studied social Darwinism. He's a registered libertarian and a huge, huge fan of Sigmund Freud. I am 55 years old. Never thought I would see the day that I would be up at 1 a.m. reading 760 pages of Sigmund Freud. But I did. And what I found was I can see a lot of Brian's past and everything that he was building up to for the future has a lot going along with Sigmund Freud and his theories and the social Darwinism. And really what I came to realize is that Sigmund Freud was all about balance. He has, id and the ego. To me, it looks like ID, but they say id. To me, it's ID. But you have the id, the ego, and the superego. And if all 3 of those are not balanced just right, then the person gets off kilter in their head, like the wiring's all messed up. Then you have the dreams and everything, and what the dreams mean, and that one, I ain't even touching that one. Y'all want to learn about Sigmund Freud and the dreams? Go have at it. I ain't touching it. But then you have the death drive and the life drive are Thanatos and Eros. And again, they balance each other. So with Sigmund Freud, everything with him was this one balancing this one. And if one of them gets off kilter, then it can throw that person into a big, huge tailspin. Sorry about that, work called. So anyway, the way that Sigmund Freud, from what I understand, and like I said, I am in no way a psychology teacher or a psychology major or anything, but everything's checks and balances. And so the title of my thumbnail is How Far is 10 Miles? And I think after this video, you'll find that that's a very profound question. Now, we all know that it's been said that Kohberger, of course, studying under Catherine Ramsland, became a fan of Ted Bundy. And that may be what led him to WSU. It could be, you know, anything. So one of the things that's really major right now, since Ted Bundy's lawyer came out and did his interview, was talking about how Ted Bundy, when he escaped and everything, he asked his lawyer what state he could go to and get the death penalty. And his lawyer, you know, informed him Florida or Texas or something like that. So Ted Bundy goes to Florida, he does the sorority massacres, and he gets the death penalty, okay? So I got to thinking about it. And you know, his lawyer made so many good points about why would someone leave a no death penalty state and go to a death penalty state? Why would someone leave a state that has the insanity plea and go to a state with no insanity plea? And I started thinking Sigmund Freud and Brian Kohberger, because Brian Kohberger is the one that's on trial. And I am not being, I mean, everybody knows my stand on it. But in everything that I researched, it made me think, you know, of Sigmund Freud and Thanatos. And that would be the death drive. And the thing about it is, why else would Brian Kohberger drive 10 miles to commit a quadruple murder that has death penalty and no insanity plea? That's because of the death drive. And a lot of this sounds foolish, believe me. I understand that. Sorry, I didn't mean to put my big head in there. But anyway, if you sit and think about it, I was telling you about my 3 first videos. They're concerning ego depletion escalating to threatened egotism. And that sounds like a bunch of hogwash, but it's all about checks and balances. And what happens when your ego starts depleting is it literally, you have physical symptoms from it. And you start going against your diet because, of course, I'm like, my gosh, he was a vegan. Did he eat a steak? You know, you start rebelling against your own structure, your own discipline, your own standards that you put for yourself. You start rebelling against those. And what's happening is your ego and everything that keeps you stabilized as far as your self-control. And when you go into ego depletion, your self-control diminishes. When your self-control diminishes, your inhibitions, your control. You know, the things that you say no to suddenly become, yes, I can do that because I don't care. I can eat a steak because I don't care about my vegan diet. I can drive all night long and go out and wander the roads because I don't care about school tomorrow. Your values, your standards and everything go against you at that time. And you want instant gratification. Now, what some of y'all may not know about me is I am a recovering meth head. And I lost my son to meth. The thing about addiction is that instant gratification. We all know that Koberger is an ex-heroin addict. That instant gratification. Now, what I want you to take into consideration is Koberger was a heroin addict in high school. I spent 16 years in the drug world. 16 years every day. Playing the game every day. It is so rare for high schoolers to be heroin addicts. That's concerning. And I think that's the reason that I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand how a high school boy turns to heroin. What is, because y'all got to understand, the drug is not the problem. The drug is not the addiction. The drug, it's not the drug's only a symptom of what's missing inside us, of what we're needing, what we're lacking. The drug is only that much of the problem. So unless we deal with our problems, the drug's always going to be a part of it. And I'm not trying to get all into that and everything, but I'm trying to understand why someone drives 10 miles to a state they can end his life. Yeah. Koberger didn't matter to anybody. Koberger was a nobody. Koberger was overlooked, undervalued. He was invisible. And I am not saying that in any kind of disrespect, because a vegan diet takes discipline. Losing over 100 pounds, you see, big girl here. I ain't got that kind of discipline. Breaking addiction takes discipline. Kickboxing and boxing takes discipline. Jogging, discipline. Mountain climbing, staying in shape, worried about your physical body takes discipline. Going back to school online and getting your GED so you can go to college. Discipline. And I don't even know if it's GED. I know that he left high school and he finished online. So I don't know if it was a high school diploma or GED. It doesn't matter. He was still disciplined enough to do it. And then he was disciplined enough to continue in that education and get PhDs and masters and whatever kind of else he got to where he got to WSU with a teaching assistant's salary and apartment. Discipline. He's rebuilding his relationship with his father. He had skin removal surgery. Everything that he did from high school, heroin, breaking the addiction, losing the weight, getting to WSU was self-discipline. That means his standards, his discipline, and everything about him was strict. Strict enough that his vegan diet, he wouldn't even eat out of pots and pans that had ever had meat. Now, what you'll hear me say is Brian Koberger was not a vegan. He ate a vegan diet. And people are like, that makes him a vegan. No, he did not. He was not a vegan for the, oh, let's don't kill an animal, or let's don't do that. For the, I guess, the ethics of it, he ate a vegan diet because he believed that's what helped his body. That's what helped rid him of his visual snow. That's what helped him lose the weight. That's what helped him get off the drugs, was that vegan diet. So when I say he was not a vegan, but he ate a vegan diet, that meant that he could eat a steak if he wanted to. It was just his strictness and his maintaining his discipline was a vegan diet. He chose that diet. It's sort of like I'm not gay, but my girlfriend is. That's neither here nor there. Never mind. It's a choice. And so he had built his life completely back up from nothing. Mad respect for that. But then he gets to WSU. And y'all got to stop and consider, this boy, his world started falling apart quick. And I'm talking quick. And so, I mean, I think he got his, like, first offense, like, September the 9th, something like that. And so now he is at WSU. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, that's rumors, that's this, that's this, that's this. Y'all, I don't want to disappoint you. It ain't rumors. He did some bad stuff at WSU. So bad that when he left, WSU had a harassment seminar to educate people. Now, I mean, and look, I'm not one to pussyfoot around or anything like that. I'm going to shoot straight with you. And I'm just going to tell you my research, what I did, what I believe, what my opinion is. And I respect everybody else's opinion. And comment them, give them to me, tell me what you want to. But I'm telling you right now, his life was falling apart. It was falling quicker than he ever thought it could. Ego depletion. I mean, who's to say his visual snow didn't kick back in? And God knows the physical symptoms that come with that. You know, so if his visual snow's kicking in, his ego depletion's kicking in, and then from ego depletion, when it keeps escalating, you go into that threatened egotism. And that is when the ego feels like it's been threatened and it must be retaliated against. And everything on the inside has to be brought out. So the death drive is basically wanting to go back to the safety of your mother's womb. I mean, I don't know how better to put that. You're wanting to go back to that safe space. You're wanting to go back when things were right and you had no worries. That's that death drive that brings out the aggression, that brings out all that's pent up in you that you hate about yourself. So you drive 10 miles to a state that has the death penalty, no insanity plea. You let your threatened egotism go, your death drive go. You take out your frustrations on 4 people. You get caught or you don't get caught. With Kohberger, it was a win-win either way. If he didn't get caught, he did the perfect crime, and he can poke his chest out and say, I'm better than Bundy. But if he does get caught, he goes down in infamy. He's happy either way because he's got his death drive. He's in the state with the death penalty, no insanity plea. It's just my opinion, y'all. Like I said, always do your research. If you're curious about it, read about it. I mean, it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of research. Ego depletion, threatened egotism, death drive. Sigmund Freud. And our boy was a Freudian. So, like I said, it may be too far-fetched for some. But if you really think about it, 10 miles, how far is it? It's a life. And I honestly believe that. I think he knew what he was doing when he drove that 10 miles. I'm Morning Label Nina. Morning Label Discussions. I look forward to your comments. I don't care what they are. I respect them either way. And I thank y'all if y'all have made it this far. Thank you.